In today's video, we are going to represent multiplication using area models. Now, before we begin, I want to review what area is. So area is the amount of space inside a shape. It tells how much surface a shape covers, and it is measured in square units. Let's look at a quick example. So if I wanted to find the area of this green rectangle, there's a couple ways you can do it. First, you could count up every square. I could say 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's going to take a while. I can also look at some different strategies. Like I know that there's 4 in this row and that there are 3 rows. So I can count by 4s 3 times. So 4, 8, 12. I know that my area of that green shape is 12 square units. So now let's come over to our multiplication problem here and see how we can use an area model to solve 7 times 13. We're going to start off by breaking up 13 into place values. So 13 can be broken up into 10 plus 3. Now I'm going to represent that amount of 13 in my grid down here. So I'm going to start right here and I'm going to go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I want it to be representing 13, so I'm going to go over 3 more. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we want to finish this problem over here, solving 7 times 13. So we have our 13 represented. Now we need to figure out a way that we can represent 7. So we want to show 13 7 times. Well, here's 13 one time with 1 row. If I want to show it 7 times, I'm going to do the same row 7 times down. So that can look like this. All right, this isn't perfect, but it shows the gist. So here's 13 squares, and I repeated them 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Now this whole entire shape, that's going to tell us our area. When I color the shape in, you can see we made 2 different rectangles. So we're gonna find the area of these 2 separate rectangles and add them together. Well, if I have 10 across and 7 down, that means I'm gonna have 10 times 7. There's gonna be 70 pieces in here, 70 square units. So we're gonna label that as, whoops, not that way, as 70. And then in this area, we have 3 across, 7 down, 3 times 7, that means there's gonna be 21 units in here. Okay. How do we put this all together to find the overall area? Well, let's relate it over to our equation here. So really what we did is we started with 7 and we multiplied by 10 to find the area of this piece, and we got 70. So we did 7 times 10 and got 70. And then we had 1 more rectangle we had to find the area of. And again, we took 7 times 3 and got 21 for that section. Now to find the overall area of the whole shape, we need to add those 2 sections together, and that's what this is representing. So we want to add 70 plus 21. And if we do that, we get 91. So the product of 7 and 13 is 91. All right, here is another example. So let's solve this problem to show how to do this next example of an area model. It says, on Saturday, 264 people ride a carousel in the park. On Sunday, 3 times as many people ride the carousel. How many people ride the carousel on Sunday? So if we know that on Saturday, there's 264 people. On Sunday, 3 times as many ride that carousel. And we want to find out how many are on Sunday. This is a multiplication problem of 264 times 3. So this is basically the same as the last example I just showed you, but instead of having that grid, we have this rectangle, and I'm going to show you how we can use that. So we're going to break up 264 into their place values. So for 2, that means I have 200, and I'm going to represent or put 200 right here. So we have 200, And then 64, that means I have 60 and 4, and I am timesing that by 3. Okay, now we are going to multiply the top times the side. So we're basically saying we have 200. If I want to repeat 200 3 times, how many is that going to be? So 200 times 3 is 600. Go over to my tens. 60, if I repeat 60 3 times, well, 6 times 3 is 18. So that means 60 times 3 is 180. And my last section, my ones, 4 times 3 is 12. And now we're going to take all of those pieces, we're going to add them together. It has a little template for us over here where we have 600 plus 180. I don't know why my pen's not working. That's okay. Plus 12. So we're going to add, these are called partial products. So the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. And we're basically breaking up this number 264, breaking that up into pieces. And so we're finding partial parts of the product and then adding them together. Anyway, so let's add these together and we get a 2 in the ones place, 8, 9, 6 plus 1 is 7, 792. So it's a lot of people. So there's going to be 792 people on Sunday. All right, I'm just going to quickly show you a few more examples here. So if we're taking 8 times 18, using the area model, we're going to break up this 2-digit number, 18, into its place value. So we're going to start by drawing a rectangle here. And we're going to break up 18 into 10 plus 8. And then we're going to put 8 on this side. All right, we're multiplying. So we're going to first take 10 and multiply that by 8, and that gives us 80. And then we're going to do 8 times 8 and get 64. And I want to find what both of those are together, so I'm going to take 80 and add 64. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 8 times 18 is 144. Okay, and one last problem, one more example. 132 times 5. Draw your rectangle. Break it up into its place value. So we have 100 plus 30 plus 2 times 5. So if I have 100 5 times, that's going to give me 500. 30 5 times, well, 3 times 5 is 15, and add 1 0. 2 times 5 is 10, and I just want to add all of those partial products. And that gives me 560 as my answer.